Hey everyone, happy Wednesday. So it's a special edition here. We're gonna have to rebrand to Wednesday workflows or something, but we've got a special Friday flows here today with the release of some of the new AI features. And it's extra special because we're joined by a special guest. Today we have Tyler Talaga from MyFitnessPal. How are you, Tyler?
Doing great, Blake. Great to be here.
Yeah, thanks so much for joining us. Tyler, tell us a little bit more about your role over at MyFitnessPal.
Yeah, definitely. So I am a staff engineer over at MyFitnessPal's IT and security team, and I actually just crossed the 2 year mark here. So that's been a great ride.
Nice, that's great. Um, yeah, congrats on the 2 year mark. And your team's been building a lot of cool stuff with Tines. How long have you been working with Tines now?
Actually, I just crossed the 2 year mark.
Nice.
So yeah, this is the first role I've gotten to use it, but I've gotten very spoiled very quick. So
Nice. You're indoctrinated right away. Um,
yeah.
Well, that's great. Well, you're joining us, as we mentioned, this is a special edition because you have been playing around with the early action features of some of the new AI capabilities that are coming into the Tines platform. And you're one of our like best builders on the platform. You're getting familiar with this stuff, giving us feedback, which has been awesome. And today is the day that the features and the actions go live. But you have built a few stories, and we're going to look at one today around change control with an AI summary. But specifically for this story, what prompted you to want to build this workflow?
Yeah, so when Times released the change control features, might have been sometime last year, I'm not sure. They're fantastic. Anybody coming from like a developer background can appreciate having changes tracked and sort of pushed to live in like a structured setting. But the notifications kind of remained in tines, so visibility was pretty low with change control. Being that our team operates pretty much entirely in Slack, I think a lot of people do, whether it's Teams or whatever. This story routes those change control requests to Slack for visibility, so our team gets eyes on them. And then we can kind of say, hey, maybe hold off on this or get thoughts from another team member and things like that. So,
Cool. Yeah. No, that's really great that you're actually bringing it into where you guys are already living. I know our sales development team gets like leads and notifications and things all in Slack. So whenever we can keep it in a central place, the better. So that's great. Well, let's jump into it. I'd love to actually run through the demo and see what you built.
yeah, let's do it. Alrighty. See my screen okay?
Yep.
Cool. Okay, so this is the general structure. Obviously, this webhook URL is configured globally. Well, globally, this on a per team basis, but we've set it up so it all goes to a centralized place depending on the team, right? The main events that we care about is if a change control request is created, if it's approved, and we kind of assume if it's approved, it's going to get pushed to live, so we don't have a separate branch for that. And then the other one we have set up for is if the request is canceled. So pretty straightforward, more or less. This is how it was for a while, and then with the recent release of the AI actions and the automatic transforms and things like that, we actually augmented this flow a little bit because our security or one of our security engineers, Caleb Williams, he actually had a great idea, and he said, looking at a change control request in Tines is sometimes a little bit arduous if there are a lot of changes being made, because if you make a change, it shows up in this small story diff, right? Kind of like this. And you're forced to evaluate the JSON changes, and you're like, well, what's going on here? If it's a one or two changes, it's not that bad. But once you get like past five, you kind of like glaze over and you're like, what's going on here? So we've basically injected an AI action in here, and we say, okay, here's who you are, here's what you're tasked with, and just some general guidelines for as change requests come in, kind of how to interpret them, right? We found that applying a particular role to the AI action helps things along in terms of output and increases overall quality. And then we also tell it, okay, here is your data that you're going to evaluate, right? So the basic change control requests to evaluate for like author and what they did, and then also the change control diff that comes through. And this helps to compare the old story versus the new story essentially, and then helps it to summarize.
Cool.
So we're gonna go ahead and kind of tee one of these up and see how it does. It's sometimes unpredictable with the LLM. Sometimes it does a great job, and other times it, does it kind of phones it in sometimes, but we'll see.
All right.
So this is just kind of a dummy action I've set up. I'm currently evaluating our tenant for stories that might not be seeing heavy run times, and that's sort of like an ongoing effort. So this is sort of a sample of something that I might be doing. So if we're going to get like underutilized stories, let's say, maybe we'll just sort them for now. And I think last run is the attribute that we're going to be interested in. And again, we'll see how this does. You'll notice like the title of the story. This is our Times like housekeeper. So this change control story is like kind of a slice of a larger effort that we have over here. We're just focused on kind of like a smaller part today to keep things focused.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we made those changes. Obviously, we have a few more things popping up in the change control viewer. Something we've talked about here. It's like, it's kind of hard to like sort through these. So I'm going to see how the AI does without me even giving this a name or a description, and we'll see if it can just go and solely evaluate the changes based on what comes through in the JSON.
Yeah.
So we're going to request a review, and then what should happen is we now have a new request in Slack. This is our like Times bot more or less on our end. You can see the description field here is if we've manually inserted a description. Obviously, that's what we've used for a long time.
Yeah.
But you can see, okay, so it knows who made the changes. It updated the underutilized stories action. This is something I did prior to the call, so we didn't see that happen, but that did happen, so that's good. It knows what it linked, and then it knows that I added a new story, sort stories action. And it says I sorted the underutilized stories by the last runtime, which is true. So it did a pretty decent job. You can see like the status is pending. You know what story is actually, involving the changes that are taking place. And if we go back here and we say, yeah, that looks good. I'm not too concerned about these. So we're going to approve them. We're also going to push, whatever it feels like it. Push to live. And then we'll go back. And because I didn't call out the change, like what it actually was, that's blank. So we know that the AI action was the one that was solely responsible for evaluating that change. Similarly, if we make a change, let's delete this, view changes, change your, sorry. Let's request this so we actually get those pushed to Slack. We'll go back here. We know that those popped up again. And then let's go ahead, go back, and then we're just going to go ahead and cancel those, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Because that happens sometimes, right? And we
Yeah.
know, okay, so the DM got wiped away. It's a clean slate now, and teams can obviously like make changes to that flow depending on if they want those changes to remain in Slack. But for us, we just kind of nuke them and go on a better merry way. So yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, you can see how just how much more like human it is to interact with the change control process now. Much easier to read that summary, get a quick understanding of what's going on, and make a call if you need to dive deeper, or just say, yeah, I'm good with that. Let's go ahead and approve it. You
Definitely. Yeah, it's helped us out a lot so far. So
Yeah, very cool. I'm just curious, like, to go into too much detail, but you mentioned that this is a subset of a broader initiative. Like, do you foresee using similar actions across all kinds of different tools outside, not just Tines in your environment?
yeah, absolutely. So one other way we've implemented the AI actions is to summarize vulnerabilities that are fixed in macOS updates.
Uh-huh.
So this is sort of like a completely separate story. It's outside of this effort that we're discussing today, but basically what will happen is an automatic transform is inserted, and it parses out a lot of the raw HTML that comes through in Apple's release notes,
Yep.
and it shoots that table over to an AI action. The AI action evaluates that for a particular link. It passes that to another AI action, and then it says, go ahead and evaluate those for what vulnerabilities you think are the highest. I want you to give me the top 5 in terms of risk. I want you to determine risk based on likelihood and impact.
Mhm.
And then it feeds those notes to our IT security team. It just says, hey, a new update has been pushed to pilots, and these are the vulnerabilities that concern me the most. So do with that information what you will. So,
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome. Well, thanks so much for running through this. And this story, this is coming out Wednesday, the 29th. It will be published in the story library as public as of that day. So you can head over there right now, check it out, play around with it for your own environment, and help Tyler make it even better, maybe next time. But thanks so much for demoing it today and for being part of the early access program. I'm excited to see what you all continue to go on and keep building with the new features.
thanks a lot, Blake. Yeah, we've all had a great time, and we appreciate being a part of the process.
Awesome. Well, it's good to see you. Thanks for being part of the series, and hopefully we'll have you back on again sometime in the future, maybe for your 3rd anniversary at MyFitnessPal.
I'd be pumped. Yeah, I'd be happy to be back anytime.
Cool. All right. Thanks. See ya.
Thanks, Blake. Bye.